If you're watching these in order, then the last one was about graphing lines using the calculator. This is a way of graphing lines that sometimes makes life a little bit easier and quicker than using the calculator. And that's by finding the intercepts of the graph and using those to graph it. Or finding the intercepts of the line and then using those. So what I want to do here is make a little table for my x and y points. And the y-intercept is the point that has an x-coordinate of 0, and the x-intercept is the one that has a y-coordinate of 0. And just find these two other numbers. So what we're doing here is putting a 0 in for x and then finding what y would have to be in order to make this equation true. So if we put a 0 in there for x, that's going to make this whole term go away. It's going to make that term 0, and that's going to leave us with negative 3y equals negative 15. So what would y have to be in order for this to be a true statement? If you can't think about it that way, then solve this equation. Divide both sides by negative 3, and you'll get positive 5. So we get 0, 5 is our y-intercept. And that would be right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there. Our x-intercept is what we get when we put a 0 in for y and find the corresponding value for x. So if I put a 0 in for y, it's going to make that whole term 0. It's going to make that go away. And what would x have to be in order for this to be true? Well, 5 times negative 3 would give us negative 15. So negative 3, 0 is our x-intercept. That's right there. Boom, done. Didn't have to turn the calculator on, didn't have to use trace, didn't have to keep track of a bunch of points. Just find the two really easy points. Give this one a try. If we put a 0 in here for x, kills off that term, and we get y is equal to 4. If we put a 0 in for y, kills that term, and we get 2x is equal to 4. That would be x is equal to 2. So 0, 4, 2, 0, done. That's really sloppy. I apologize. So this is easy when it's easy. If this had been a 3 here, then we put that 0 in for y, and then we would have not just a nice number for x, and it wouldn't be an appropriate way of graphing unless the numbers work out nicely. So when both of these numbers are factors of this number over here, these are both factors of 4. Here, the 2 and the 5 are both factors of 10. So this method will work because the division works out nicely. If you watched the last video then you may or may not remember this one. This is the last one we did graphing by putting them in the calculator. We could have saved a little time, put a 0 in for x, y would have to be negative 2. Put a 0 in for y, x would have to be negative 5. 0, negative 2 is there. Negative 5, 2 is there. And our line would look roughly like that, which is, it's not the same 2 points we used when we graphed it in the last video. The other point was over here, but gave us the same line. Right, and that's using intercepts to graph lines.